Guys, if we were to just ask the fans, they would claim all 259 players from the draft are going to make an immediate impact for their team. That's just kind of how fans think. We know that is not the case. We know a lot of these guys won't even make the roster in week one. A lot of them will just end up career special teamers, but we also know there will be people who maybe compete for all-pro honors as a rookie. And just who are some of the guys that you think are primed to just make an impact right from week one, like hit the ground running in their 2023 rookie season? Connor, we'll start with you.
I think the first guy for me is Cedric Tillman on the Browns. And this one's a little different because I don't know if it's more about talent. I think it's more about talent than actual opportunity. There's plenty of pass catchers with the Browns, and they need to move to be a more pass-happy offense if Deshaun Watson has shaken off some of the rust that we saw last year. But Tillman's just simply better than a lot of the guys they have that aren't named Amari Cooper. I mean, I really see a lot of Cortland Sutton in his game. The ability when the play breaks down to go up and win the football in the air, to help out in the red zone, which obviously makes him very, very relevant instantly. But really the other guy that I look to where there'll be even more on his plate, staying with wide receiver, has to be Jordan Addison on the Vikings. And yes, he was a first-round pick, not breaking ground here or anything like that. But with Addison, it feels like he was a little overlooked throughout this process because he's a lighter guy, weighed in the 170s, and he didn't run in the 4.3s, but he won the Biletnikoff at Pitt with Kenny Pickett. And then he was great at USC with Caleb Williams as well. The drop rate went down. He's got returner ability. But this is a situation in Minnesota playing with Kirk Cousins where he, from day one, in my eyes, is the number 2 wide receiver in an offense that the number 1 wide receiver in Justin Jefferson commands so much attention. You need to bracket him. If you don't, you're foolish. And that's going to leave a lot of space for Addison to work in where he's a master of beating zone, winning at all 3 levels. He's got really good agility. So I think Jordan Addison is in for a massive rookie season compared to the rest of the receivers in this class.
Connor, I absolutely love the Addison pick just because it's weird to say a team that has probably the best receiver on the planet and Justin Jefferson had a need at receiver, but their receiver core at this point was basically Justin Jefferson and a slot guy and KJ Osborne. And KJ Osborne's a good slot guy, maybe still even a little room for growth, but Jordan Addison just seems like such a perfect fit for that receiver core because he can play inside, he can play out, he can do a little bit of both. And it seems like maybe he can like fill in the blanks between Justin Jefferson and KJ Osborne and just filled a really, really, really big need for that offense.
Yeah, I like the fill in the blanks thing there. Like, I think KJ Osborne was probably a good third receiver. Like, the NFL needs more good third receivers, but he probably shouldn't be in your second receiver role. And Adam Thielen was looking like he was past his time to be a second receiver as well. Then they get rid of him. They need that type of guy, and he bridges the gap perfectly. And I thought maybe at his weight, it would be difficult if he had to step in and be a team's number 1 receiver, where you'd have the team's most physical corner on the other team trying to defend him. And maybe that doesn't go as well for him. The best possible spot is let him match up against number 2 corners who aren't going to be able to handle him. It is the ideal landing spot, both for him, but I had the Vikings mocked multiple times to get him. So I think he not only is maybe just one of the best fits from a purely NFL perspective of these first round receivers, but from a fantasy perspective, the receiver landing spots were kind of weird. And this one just clicks to me. It makes so much sense.
So we were all very excited to talk about Jordan Addison to the point where we were like talking over each other, Kyle. So he's on all of our lists. But who was on your list that was not on Connor's list? This is some of the rookies primed to make a week 1 impact in this draft class.
Yeah, we don't see rookie tight ends too often make an impact, but I do think Michael Mayer comes in as about as polished as you can be. I don't know if he has the highest pass catching ceiling we've seen of a player coming in, but I did think he had the highest pass catching ceiling this year, even ahead of Dalton Kincaid, who went ahead of him. I mean, Michael Mayer came in with back-to-back 800-yard seasons. Last year, he led all FBS tight ends, or all Power 5 tight ends, if you lump in Notre Dame as a Power 5 team, in yards per route run. And unlike Dalton Kincaid, he also comes in, I think, as a really underrated blocker. So he should be able to play all 3 downs right away for a team in the Raiders that I think they'll probably be about a league average team in terms of passing, and their defense isn't great, so the volume should be there too. So I think Mayer, just as a pure, maybe a bridge tight end 1 type, you don't get that from rookies often, but I think he could probably break the mold there, and he'd be my favorite pick to do so. And then at running back, this is another one that, like, I don't think I'm breaking ground here. In fact, even the Dolphins weren't breaking ground when they took Devon Achane. Everyone said coming in, he has that Raheem Mostert, just lightning speed. Like Next Gen Stats always says, well, Raheem Mostert, there's another 20+ mile an hour carry, and that's what Achane does. He is just so like track speed fast, and you see that on film too. He is able to apply that day in, day out when it comes to playing football. And he should probably find himself in like a zone outside type of running scheme. And of course, the team with Raheem Mostert, the team that runs a lot of zone, they're the team that drafts him. Everyone's going to say that this is such a perfect fit. And you know what? yeah, they're right. It is a really great fit. And I think he should come in as maybe not the highest volume back on week 1, but probably the most efficient, or maybe second to Jahmyr Gibbs as the most efficient rookie runner in week 1.
Kyle, I love the pick of Michael Mayer. When you look at him as a tight end prospect, and first off, 9th overall player for me in this entire draft. That's how special I thought he was. And just the ability to work over the middle of the field, make tough catches, maximize his catch radius. I don't know what more the NFL wanted of him. 16 touchdowns over the last 2 years, 89 first downs. Literally, when Notre Dame needed to move the chains, they just looked at Michael Mayer, whether it was in the slot, whether it was on the line of scrimmage, coming out of the backfield, whatever they asked of the guy, while being the fact that he's a capable blocker will have him on the field for he's not going to be working in 2 tight end sets or 3 tight end sets. He should always be on the field. And say what you want about Josh McDaniels, but he does have a history of understanding how to utilize or how to target the tight end as well. So Mayer is going to be great out of the gate.
Mayer, a great fit for the Raiders. Now all they need to do is make sure they don't ruin his wedding.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay? Respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.